Good morning, students. Today's class will be on neoplasia. I am Dr. Spooty from Pathology. Coming to the definition of neoplasia, a neoplasia is an abnormal mass of tissue or the growth which exceeds and is uncoordinated with that of the normal tissue and persists in the same excessive manner after cessation of the stimuli which evoked the change. It may be due to genetic changes, autonomous or clonal. Coming to the nomenclature, we know the neoplasias in a human being is divided into benign and malignant tumors. Coming to the benign tumors, the word benign means which is not harmful, or it is denoted as which is a simple tumor. Okay, and always the benign neoplasia is given a term which is OMA, means benign neoplasia. Okay, so as we know, the neoplasia may be benign and malignant, and again the benign and malignant lesions can be divided into mesenchymal tumors and the epithelial tumors. What is this epithelial tumors? The epithelial tumors are those which arises from the epithelium of the tissue or a organ system. It may be any part of the body. We know the different part of the body is made up of different type of epithelium. Like for example, the skin is made up of stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. The carcinoma or a malignant tumor which arises from the skin surface or the epithelial surface is noted as squamous cell carcinoma. Coming to the mesenchymal tumors, mesenchyma is nothing but the tissues which are made up of cartilage, bone, soft tissues like adipose tissue which arises is called as lipomas, or it may be some mixed carcinomas. So here we'll see the mesenchymal tumors or chondromas. Chondromas are nothing but the lesions which arises from the cartilaginous tumors. Fibromas are fibrous tissue like connective tissue. It may be hyaline connective tissue or elastic connective tissues, and osteomas are the bone tumors which are called as benign bone lesions. Coming to the epithelial tumors, it is adenomas. Adenomas are nothing but the benign tumors organized in the glands. The adenomas are very important in the case of stomach and intestine, whereas the papillomas are nothing but the finger-like projections which are usually seen on the skin. And the polyps are nothing but a tumor or the projections above a mucosal surface. See, this is a best example and the figure which shows the nasal polyp where there is a finger-like projections and there is a congested blood vessel. And here this is a figure which shows the intestinal polyp which is showing areas of congestion on the intestinal mucosa. This is a figure where there is a intestinal polyp which is made up of intestinal polyp which is showing the finger-like projections with the congested vessels. Coming to the nomenclature of the malignant tumors, the malignant tumors usually denoted by the name sarcomas or carcinomas. What are these sarcomas? Sarcomas are those which are arising from the mesenchymal tissue. Coming to the chondrosarcomas, as I told, the mesenchyma is made up of bone, cartilage or the adipose tissue or fibrovascular tissues. So there we gave the in the benign we gave the term chondromas. Here we give the term chondrosarcomas, which are the lesions arising from the cartilaginous tissues, whereas the fibrosarcomas are those which arises from the fibrous tumor. Osteosarcomas are nothing but the tumors which are malignant in nature and they are from the bone tumors. Coming to the carcinomas, carcinomas are those which arises from the epithelial surfaces. There we gave adenomas, polyps, and papillomas. Here we denote them as adenocarcinomas, which arises from the glands, and they are mainly seen in case of intestine and stomach. And squamous cell carcinoma, as I told you, they mainly seen in the skin, and they may be seen as the squamous differentiation in the other parts of the body. And others are the undifferentiated carcinomas, which are denoted as no differentiation tumors. See, in this figure you can see a squamous cell carcinoma where there is a stratified squamous epithelium lined with very big cells which are having vesicular nuclei, prominent nucleoli, and the interstitium, which is made up of many inflammatory cells, along with there is a presence of keratin pearls. In this figure you can see the adenocarcinoma of the intestine, where there is a gland forming structures and with a high NC ratio, pleomorphism of the nucleus, all this. And there are some other tumors which are grouped as a special tumors. They are nothing but the tumors with mixed differentiations. They are nothing but the pleomorphic adenoma of the salivary gland and the teratomas. Teratomas are the tumors which have the differentiation of all the three germ layers, such as the endoderm, ectoderm and mesoderms, which are made up of all the structures like salivary gland may be there, cartilage, bone, intestinal glands, sebaceous glands, teeth, everything may be present on the slide or in the specimen. And others are the hematoma. Hematoma is nothing but there will be disorganized mass of the tissue whose cells are native to the surface. The best hematoma is mainly seen in case of lung, whereas the cholesteatoma is nothing but it is a atrophic focus of normal tissue. This is nothing but the normal tissue will be present in the other side of the body. Means in the stomach, sometime the people may present with the pancreatic tissue. And the best cholesteatoma example is in the tonsils. Sometimes you may see the cartilaginous tissue or the hyaline cartilage. When you see through the microscope, sometimes there will be a lesion or it may be a normal atopic tissue which is seen. So these are the best examples for the cholesteatoma. And in this figure you can see a dermoid cyst or the teratoma of the ovary, where the lesion is showing the hairs, teeth, and there is a sebaceous glands. Same specimen ka histology, where there is sebaceous glands, where there is a bone marrow elements, everything is present in the slide. Now we will see what is the difference between the malignant and benign features of the tumors. Coming to the rate of growth, it is very progressive. It is less progressive in case of benign and it is very progressive in case of malignant. Differentiation is well differentiated in the case of benign, and malignant it has some degree of anaplasia. Local invasion is cohesive growth. Capsule and bone marrow is not bleached and it is bleached and infiltrating in nature, and metastasis is usually absent in benign and it is present in the malignant tumors. Next we will see the clinical effects of the tumor on the host. The clinical effects of the tumor on the host is the location and the environmental or anatomical encroachment. Hormone production will be there, and due to which there will be presence of the paraneoplastic syndromes, which I tell you in the later slides, and there is a bleeding, infection, acute symptoms like rupture, infractions may occur, and there may be metastasis to the other organs, and there will be a multi-organ failure. Coming to the cachexia is a term which we use in the cancer patients, and it is nothing but reduced weight and reduced mass of the muscle mass due to weight loss, due to which the patient presents with the chronic weight loss, and the fat loss and muscle loss may be present in the patient, and the reasons for this is mainly the production of the tumor necrosing factor, interleukin 6 and proteolysis inducing factor, which we normally called as PIF. Now, the important topic for today's class will be on the paraneoplastic syndromes. Paraneoplastic syndromes are those syndromes complexes occurring in cancer-bearing patients which cannot be explained on the basis of their local spread, distant spread, or the elaboration of the hormone belonging to that particular site from the tumor arose. Means these are the syndromes in which the patient presents with to you as a clinician, in which there is a presence of the hormone production or some other symptoms which actually the tumor does not produce. And the different systems in the body are involved in this. Coming to the nervous and muscle, it is myasthenia gravis, which is mainly seen in case of lung carcinomas. Skin, it is acanthosis nigricans and dermatomyositis. You can see in the patient having a blackish discoloration of the neck and the on the dorsum of the hand. Bone, joint, soft tissue it is hypertrophic pulmonary osteoarthropathy, and in vascular it is mainly the endocarditis. Hematological anemias and polycythemias, and renal it is mainly the nephrotic syndromes. Coming to the endocrine the very important things you should know is the Cushing syndrome, which is mainly seen in case of small cell carcinomas of the lung and pancreatic carcinomas, syndromes which are associated with the anti-diuretic hormone, that is a normal which is mainly seen in case of small cell carcinoma of the lung and intracranial neoplasias. And hypercalcemia, you know that hypercalcemia is nothing but the increase in the calcium levels, and it is mainly seen in case of squamous cell carcinoma of the lung, breast carcinomas, renal carcinomas, and adult T cell leukemias or lymphomas. And it also may be seen in case of ovarian cancers in the females. Coming to the hypoglycemia is nothing but the decrease in the insulin production, and due to which there will be it is nothing but the diabetic the patient presents with the patient who is having a anti-diabetic activity. And here there will be it is mainly seen in the carcinomas like fibrosarcomas, mesenchymal sarcomas, hepatocellular carcinomas. Coming to the carcinoid syndromes are those which are produced due to the bradykinin, histamine and serotonin like substances, and it is mainly seen in case of bronchial adenomas or carcinoid tumors, pancreatic carcinomas, gastric carcinomas. And as I told, the polycythemia vera or polycythemia, which is mainly seen in case of renal cell carcinomas, cerebellar hemangiomas and hepatocellular carcinomas. Coming to the grading and staging of the tumors, the grading and stages is very important in the case of tumors, and when you give a histological report, you should mention the grading and staging of the tumor. It is very important in a pathological diagnosis. We'll see what is the grading mean. Grading is nothing but how differentiated is the cells or how differentiated is a malignant tumor. Coming to the staging is nothing but the how much anatomical extension the tumor is showing. Means whether the tumor is only present on the epithelium or the mucosa, or it is bleaching the basement membrane and it is going into the submucosal surfaces, or it is called as infiltrating in nature. That one the staging will tell us, and the grading is it will tell how much abnormal are the cells. Means depending upon the NC ratios, pleomorphism, mitotic figures, everything, we divide them into poorly differentiated, moderately differentiated and well differentiated carcinomas. So this is how we grade and stage the tumors. The normal staging what we follow is called as TNM staging. TNM staging is nothing but T stands for the size of the tumor, N stands for the number of nodes involved. It may be same side of the tumor or the opposite side of the tumor, and M stands for the distant metastasis, which is in which the tumor is spreading to other surfaces in the body, or it may be other organs of the body. So next we'll see, this is a figure which is showing a well differentiated carcinomas of the like squamous cell carcinoma, and the second figure is showing moderately differentiated, where you can see a moderated amount of cells which are not showing that pleomorphism, and the poor differentiated is the third figure, where you can see how episode arrangement of the cells and very large cells with vesicular nucleus and prominent nucleoli, and you can see a big cell with abnormal X-like lesion, which is a atypical mitotic figure. And in this figure you can see the adenocarcinoma grading, and the first one is the number of glands can be easily counted and they are like a glandular structures, but in the second you can see the glandular structures but the lumens are not clear, and the number of cells which are showing the pleomorphism is more. And coming to the third figure, you cannot see where the tumor is actually. There are no glandular arrangement, which is denoted as a poorly differentiated carcinoma of the or the adenocarcinoma. And one more the important topic for today's class will be on the tumor markers. Tumor markers are nothing but the substances which are mainly excreted in the urine or in the blood by the patient who are suffering from the cancer. Some of the cancer can be diagnosed, or it may be a diagnostic criteria for some of the cancers, in which the by whenever the patient gives an increase in the amount of this tumor markers, we can tell probably the patient may have some cancers. The best example is the CA125 and 129, which is mainly a glycoproteins, which are mainly seen in the females with ovarian carcinomas. So the tumor markers can be divided into hormones, oncofetal oncogenes or the oncofecal proteins, isoenzymes, proteins and glycoproteins, and the molecular basis. Coming to the hormones, as I told you people in the paraneoplastic syndromes, that is nothing but the ACTH like hormones, all this, whereas the insulin like growth hormones. And oncofetal may, it is very important with AFP and CEA. The isoenzymes may PAP and non-specific SLAs is important. Proteins may it's PSA and PSMA, which is a membrane proteins, are very important, and glycoproteins may it's CA125, CA195 and CA153 is important, and the molecular may, the most important, the oncogenes are RAS and P53 are important. One more thing you should know in the tumor markers is only not, these are the substances which are may be present in the urine and the blood of the patient, and they can also be diagnosed by using a special staining method which is called as immunohistochemical methods, or we usually call them as IHC markers. So this will be the class on the neoplasia, which is the briefing of neoplasia and paraneoplastic syndrome, tumor markers, grading and staging. For any doubts, you can WhatsApp me. Thank you.